Hier waren wir doch schon mal.
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken. No, the orders were still missing. For now.
Vielleicht. Hier, New Content.
New content? What does that mean, new content?
Ich will da durch eigentlich. Geht die Tür zu? Oh, oh, Hilfe! Ah. Das wird doch noch ein Horrorspiel, ey. Das wird sowas von noch ein Horrorspiel.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers.
Ja.
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
Richtig geil.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Ich nicht so? Das ist bestimmt eine Verarschung. Du willst mich nur veräppeln.
So far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the
Der
beginning
will
of
mich
a
nur verarschen.
mesmerizing adventure.
Siehst du? Sag ich
Is
ja.
it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere? Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Das ist schon neuer Content, du. Na egal. Ich beleidige ihn jetzt nicht. Ausnahmsweise.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Wow!
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Wow. Ich kann nicht springen.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say,
Wir können nicht
initial
springen.
impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yes, I knew there had
Meinst du,
to
ich
be
kann nochmal
something
zurück?
else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Ja, aber ich will ja nicht da springen. Ich will ja woanders springen.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations.
Ja,
If
nee,
you're
das
still
geht
with me,
nicht.
why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about? No
Meinst du, wir sollen noch
frills,
mal springen?
no
Nein, das
gimmicks.
machen wir nicht.
Just you
Das
and
war
me
langweilig.
having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Hä? 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 Wo sind wir? Hilfe! Da müssten wir eigentlich sein.
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something. Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway, so
Doch
who cares?
schon, irgendwie. Da würde ich gern hochspringen.
Never mind, you're not a dog.
Ah!
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I
Okay.
made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Wieso sieht das so nach Dark Souls aus?
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive
jetzt
the
nicht mehr,
peak
aber gerade eben.
experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Okay. Das ist schon wieder nicht Open World. Naja.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind
Zone,
you how
sweet
wonderful
zone.
Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, waste.
Postkarten, frische Postkarten. The original remake. Witzig. Wieso? Das hätte wenigstens interaktiv sein können hier. Go outside. Don't play for 5 years. It's impossible to get this achievement. Ja. Ist das jetzt Open World oder wie oder was oder wo?
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
1 Stunde Elevator Content? Ich hoffe nicht. Okay, in den Maintenance-Bereich können wir nicht hinein. Person of the Year. Aha. Ist ja im Dachgeschoss, würde ich behaupten.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games
Äußerst
and one that offers
anregend.
some of the most
Ja.
enjoyable, surprising and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It
Das
didn't
Haus sieht
need
absolut
new
gemütlich
content.
aus.
All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the PlayStation, boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise.
Ich wollte mich doch veräppeln. Da kann man nicht durch.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again.
Ich kann nicht springen. Wie soll ich da hin? Was tue ich? Hast du das schon angeguckt? Carpet Textures. Ach, das war früher alles so schön, ne? Mit diesen Paketen, wo man dann so ein fettes Buch mit irgendwie Word-Grafiken, mit so einem fetten Katalog, welche Grafiken da drin sind, auf welcher CD. Ah, das ist geil, ja. Ein Fahrrad. Ein Bild von einem Fahrrad. Und wie soll ich jetzt da durchkommen? Wie hießen die Grafiken bei Word noch? Cliparts? Waren das Cliparts? Ach, jetzt ist die Tür offen, okay.
Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Open World!
Oh no! Oh,
Shoot
God, no,
up.
Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Ja. Not recommended. Das ist ein
Honestly,
recommended.
I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm
Aua.
trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a
World.
densely layered web
Clipart, ne?
of profound philosophical
meine auch
insights
Clipart.
that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Nix Open World. Schön Schlauch. Toll. Das kann kein Mensch lesen.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness.
Schon ein
This is
bisschen.
actually quite shocking for me. I always, well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light
Ja.
and airy as it...
Absolut
Well, I was
lineares Gameplay.
but maybe it wasn't. Dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley
Berechtigterweise.
Parable
Nein, das habe ich
isn't
nicht
quite as
gesagt.
sterling as
Du
I
machst das
always
super.
remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button. Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt.
Okay.
Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my
What is happening?
That's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Ein Skip-Button.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm
glaub, der
very
hat
proud to have
Zip-Button.
delivered. No more listening to me
Ist das eine
rambling
schöne
on
Pflanze?
and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet.
Wir haben so viel gegessen, ich habe gar nichts gegessen.
245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday.
Just
here
yesterday.
And there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more
Dass
than
er das so
forever
durch... Ich
ago,
hätte mich
which is why I
kaputt
say
gelacht, wenn ich das
the
einlesen
story
hätte
and the
müssen.
choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, until
Der fängt wieder von vorne an.
245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say... The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is,
Das ist was
so on and
Neues.
so forth, until inevitably we
das ist
all
nicht.
until the end of time, at which time everything all at once.
Ja, egal.
Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45... Stanley!
Ja.
Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting
Dann
longer.
erzähl nicht so viel.
Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week.
Oh nein.
2 weeks.
Maybe a year.
Oh, hello, it's you. You're here again. Welcome.
Hi.
I have
Ja.
had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time.
Ja.
I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you
Ja.
ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me
Ja.
describe it for you. To begin with, there is...
Mach einfach was. Okay, die Blume ist schon mal tot. Und der Erzähler scheinbar auch. Dann skippen wir doch nochmal. Da ist irgendein Gerät. Das mag ich nicht. Skippen wir auch.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are
Es
the
ist so viel
jokes?
Zeit
Where are
vergangen,
the
dass die
jokes?
Uhr
They
sogar
made me
runtergefallen
scream.
ist.
They gnashed their teeth and said,
Ha. Ich hätte nicht an dieses Telefon gehen sollen.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
Ja, ja. Jetzt tropft da schon Wasser rein. Aber der Stamm von der Pflanze hat sich bis jetzt ganz gut gehalten eigentlich. Ist irgendwo ein Loch in der Wand? Nee. Dann skippen wir nochmal. Skip. Es ist nur ein Loch in der Decke. Bringt uns nichts. Oh, ein Loch in der Wand. Der Erzähler ist auch schon lange irgendwie weg, ne? Blumen. Was ist das denn für eine Pflanze? Hackebutte? Eine Hackebutte. Hä? Jetzt ist die ganze Welt verbrannt, oder? Gucken, wo das hier noch hinführt. Jetzt wird's Horror. Da ist ein Loch. Kann ich da nochmal draufdrücken? Reaktiviert er sich nochmal? Open World! Open World! Open World! Juhu! Juhu! Wir können tun, was wir wollen, ja! Was wollen wir denn tun? Wir klettern auf dem Berg da. Nicht? Zum Ende ein herzliches Dankeschön von uns beiden fürs Zuschauen. Wir hoffen, es hat genauso viel Spaß gemacht zuzuschauen wie das Aufnehmen und das Streamen.
Lasst gerne einen Kommentar da, drückt den Daumen nach oben und abonniere unseren Kanal.
Genau, den Kanal findest du hier. Die Videos da. Ein paar Empfehlungen. Bis dann.
Vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen.